welcome back to another video. So today I'm back again with this color along series that I'm doing of this adorable little bunny. This is by Rachel Mintz, and this is the third video of this color along, and I've been using Derwent Inktense. At least I started using Derwent Inktense. So for all of the fur, I used Prismacolors, and there is a tutorial on how I did the fur. I will make sure the entire playlist is linked in the upper right hand corner. The last video we did this dirt or sand down here along with the flower. And today I am going to talk a little bit about how I choose my colors to continue along with this page. Some of you have been following me for quite a long time, but I know I have a lot of new subscribers as well that just found my channel. But previously, when we've done color alongs and I've kind of included my entire Facebook group, we all have chosen a color palette. And usually when I am doing color palettes, I already have all my colors all picked out and everything. But for this one, I did it a little bit different, where I just am kind of choosing the colors as I go and just kind of doing what I think is going to look nice. So I want to talk a little bit about that today and show you exactly how I determine what colors I'm going to use. So today we're going to color his little outfit here, and this is probably all I'll be able to do in this video because this may not look like much, but using the Inktense, it's actually going to be quite a lot, and it's going to take me a little while because you can see you've got all these little spaces here, and I need to make sure that the colors come together really nicely. And I'm going to talk about how I chose the colors and how I'm going to bring balance to this page. So let's go ahead and get started. And I've already chosen all of my colors, and I'm going to show you how I chose them using the color wheel this time, since I'm not using a limited palette or using any kind of color palette. So that is what we're going to do today. If you check the description box down below, I will have a link down there for my Facebook group. Those of you that aren't in my Facebook group, I would love to have you join my Facebook group so you could share your beautiful coloring pages, ask all of the colored pencil questions you have, or just share whatever you would like to. And I also have links down there for my Etsy store where you could get lots of different swatch charts, as well as my blending and color combination workbook, which is a full tutorial workbook, my email list, and my Patreon if you would like to support me over there. So if you take a look at this page, you can see that when I used the Prismacolors and I did the fur, I made sure I added, I think it was cream or eggshell, something, I think it was eggshell, in here to give him some bright highlights as well as the white. I always like to make sure that there are extreme highlights everywhere in anything that I'm coloring. I always want my highlights to really stand out and pop so that I could see the difference in the values of the colors between the darkest color and my highlight colors or my lightest colors. And then I always want to make sure that I am bringing balance to the entire page. But for his little overalls or whatever here this cute little bunny is wearing, we see that we've got these little checkered spaces here. And I want to make sure that I do these overalls in two different colors. So to choose those colors, I had to really think about what I was doing. So one, I want to make sure that I take some of the colors that I've already used. You could see that in the fur, I've got this color that is a shade of yellow. And then when I did the flower, I brought more yellows into the flower in the petals and here in the center of the flower, even though I used other colors. Then down here where I did this dirt or this sand, or what I thought it to be dirt or sand, I made sure I added a lot of yellow in there too. So my main focus of this page is to make sure that I'm using yellows, and I want to make sure that I do that throughout the whole entire page. So when I come in here and I color the butterfly, I'm going to use yellows, but I'm going to add other colors to those shades of yellow. And yellow is a really good color to mix in with almost anything else. Like you could mix it in with green, you could mix it in with reds and oranges, and you could even add it to blues. And so today I want to make sure that his little outfit really stands out amongst everything else on this page. So what I decided to do is I pulled out my color wheel here. You can see that I used oranges in the flowers along with yellows. So I'm going to look at my color wheel here, and we can see that orange is over here. So if we were on orange and we go straight across, we are going to see that we come over here to the complementary colors. And this color wheel is really, really wonderful because it will tell you exactly how to use the color wheel, and it will explain everything to you in much detail. So here we have complementary, which is what you're going to use to create contrast between two colors. And then it just says two colors directly opposite each other on the color wheel. For example, red and green. So when I look at the color wheel, if I want something that is completely contrasting, because my idea for this page is to find two colors so I could color in all of those little checkered areas, and I really want those two colors to really stand out from one another. But the first thing I'm trying to do is I want to find the color that is contrasting from this flower, because I want the flower to be really contrasting from whatever color I put here in his little overalls. So if I look at this, I see orange over here, and if I go directly across, I am at my blues. The first combination of colors that I'm going to use are going to be blues, because I want to use the contrasting color from the orange that I see in this flower, because you could see these are right next to each other, and I want both of them to really, really stand out. So when someone looks at my page, I want to really be able to tell he's got these cute little overall jumpers on, and I don't want it to blend in with everything else. So I'm going to use some pretty extreme colors on here to really start adding color to this page, and it's really going to start to really pop. So if you look at the color wheel here, you can see that our blues are right here along the same lines as our green blues, which would be teals or aqua type colors. And so I chose a few different colors because in each one of these little squares, I am going to put 3 colors, because I really want to be able to see the separation between all of these colors. Now this is going to take me a little while, so after I show you what I'm doing, I may speed through with some of it, because I've got 3 color combos for the first part, and then I've got another 3 colors set aside, and I'm going to show you what I do with the next part. And when I tell you that his little clothes here are really going to stand out, they are going to stand out so much. It's going to make a huge difference in what you see right now, where we have all of the same colors up to this point on this page. Okay, so the 3 colors that I chose from my Derwent Inktense are the deep indigo, sea blue, and green aquamarine. And I went with the green aquamarine because this is what's really going to bring it or give it some real brightness and sort of make it pop and give us the separation between the 2 colors. So I am going to use my dark color first, and I'm going to show you exactly how I'm doing this. And like I said, I may end up coming back and speeding up through some of this after I show you how I do this. Now, I don't know how many of you are watching right now that did not see the previous one when I started to bring in the Inktense. But I went from the Prismacolors, like I said, to the Inktense just because I wanted to switch it up, and I really wanted to be able to use my Inktense because I haven't used them in quite some time. But I really want to be able to concentrate here so that I don't mess up. So that is the other reason why I may speed it up through certain parts of this. But y'all will be able to see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm adding a lot of this color over in these areas, and because it is going to be like much darker over there. But I'm trying to, as I do this, try to determine where I'm going to want my other color and where I'm going to want to put this color, and make sure that I leave enough of these little boxes open for when I get ready to come back with my secondary color. And you can see I'm just laying the first, my darkest color down first, and I'm just going to do this in every one of these little boxes, or where I see the darkest of the grayscale. And there's a few spaces where the grayscale looks a little bit darker, but I'm going to want to put my other color in those spaces. So I'm just trying to be really careful of where I lay my colors. Let's add quite a bit of this up in these areas here, right by where his fur is. Okay, so let's go ahead and come back with the second color. And so this color is sea blue, and I'm going to start adding this in here in just some of these spaces here. And in certain parts of this, you're going to see that I add my own boxes or my own lines. Okay, and so I'm just adding this color everywhere where I added that darker blue. And I really think I'm only going to probably need one layer of this blue because these blues are pretty dark, so they may be just fine with just one layer. And then I'm adding quite a bit of it down here because there's a lot of darker grayscale down here, and I'm just assuming that possibly his outfit is just kind of bunching up all through there. Okay, so I see a couple spaces where I need to add my darkest color. Okay, so now let's go ahead and come back, and we are going to add our lightest color in here. And again, I'm just adding this right in here where I added these other blues. And I'm just keeping in mind exactly where I'm going to need to come back with my other colors so that we have a mix of two colors that are going to be really contrasting from one another. So you'll probably see the video kind of jump forward because I will fix all of that and do that in editing, because I'm really trying to focus and concentrate on where I'm laying these colors so that they're in the right places, because I don't want to mess up. And I think I'm going to add some of my lightest color in here. And you could see I'm still adding some lines just in certain places where I feel like those little squares in his outfit just were not separated the way that I would have wanted them to be. And when I come back with my other color, it's going to really make a huge difference. Okay, so now it's time to come back with our water. And I'm going to show you now exactly how I use the Inktense if you didn't see the previous video. So I always keep a piece of scratch paper off to the side. You can see here that I've been brushing off my brush in between colors, and you can see it's been a little wet here just because I am using the water brush and I want to make sure I have enough water, but not too much. You don't want to wet your brush too much, just enough to be able to apply to the paper and make sure that the colors are going to move around, because with the Derwent Inktense, this first layer is actually going to create a permanent layer. And then you want to be able to come back after you lay that layer, and you want to be able to lay another layer on top of it. So now when you're using your Derwent Inktense, like I showed you in my last video, you want to make sure that you are taking the color off of the tip of your brush just by going like this on your scratch sheet of paper that you keep off to the side. And you generally want to take the lightest color and move it into the darkest color. You do not want to do it the opposite way. And then I'm just going to move the color around a little bit the way that I want it. Then I'm going to brush off my brush to get rid of that. Then I'm going to come back where my lightest color is, and I'm going to come back into that darkest color again. I really love these Inktense pencils so much. And I'm so glad I pulled them out for this video. Okay, so now I'm going over the lightest color again, and I'm going into where I have my darkest color. And you can see I'm leaving that little space right in there because I'm going to be coming back into that space with another color. And I'm probably going to add another color up in these spaces too. I'm just trying to create the division there between the colors. And I'm pulling it down into where I had my lightest color. And again, I'm not going too far because that area there is for my next color. So you can see by looking at this that I'm probably not going to need to apply a second layer of this color, and I'm probably not going to because these blues are pretty intense and I don't feel like I'm really going to need any more. Now with the Inktense, they are supposed to be permanent once you lay the first layer, and then you will come back and you can lay another layer over the top of that if you want to. But we will see if I end up doing that or not. At this point, I don't think that I am, but I'm really not sure quite yet. Y'all know if you've watched my videos before, I start out doing one thing and then I end up doing something totally different. But look how pretty these colors are. This is what I love so much about the Inktense pencils, because they don't look like much when you initially lay the color down, and it almost doesn't look like you have enough laid down on the paper. But then when you come back and you add this water to it, it just automatically intensifies by a huge amount. But look at this. And it's so easy just to move the colors around where you want them. And again, I'm just leaving spaces all in and around where I'm laying the blue, because I'm going to come back and add another color into all of those areas. And over here around the flower stem, I really want that to really stand out, so I'm just leaving that all rather dark. And then down here where I'm coming into where his fur is, I want to make sure I've got a lot of my dark colors down in here and then up into this area here. And you could just move the colors around until you get them exactly how you want them. But once they dry, they are supposed to be permanent. I guess we'll find out when I come and add my other color, because my other color is going to be quite lighter. Oh, there's some spaces that I missed. Look how dark that just got. Oh, it's so pretty. This blue is just so gorgeous. And I think I want to come over here just to create a line over here, but I'm going to add another color right there in the center and right over here by his cute little furry tail. I want to make sure I've got quite a bit of my darkest color. So I came back and added a little bit of my darkest colors down in here because I want this to really stand out all around his little paw here and where I'm going to color the tree bark. And then it's still wet, but I'm going to lay some more of this darkest color just right in there over the top. And then I'm just leaving this little space right here to come back with my next color. Now over here, I want to make sure that this is plenty dark just so that it stands out. And so I'm going to take my darkest of my blues and I'm just going to add some right in here all the way down. And then I'm going to have to come back and go over that with water, because when I come back with my next color, I don't want the one color bleeding into the next one. And see, y'all, I said I was going to speed the video up, but I just went through and did most all of this without speeding it up. I don't know, I just always want to make sure that y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. And of course, when I go through and I edit it, some of it will be cut out, but it's usually not anything that is important, and y'all will still have an idea of exactly what I'm doing. And I think when I come back with my next color, this is going to really just start to all come together, and it's just going to be so beautiful. I'm trying to make sure that I've gone over every single part of this. Oh, see here, there was a piece where I hadn't gone over it with water yet. It's very hard to tell because some of these spaces are just really small, and I want a lot of my darkest color right up here. So I'm just going over that again to intensify it just a bit. And I really just want the colors to blend together really nicely. Okay, so I think that side is done, but we still have this little piece over here, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do all of this with the blue, and this part I am going to speed up, and then I'll just leave it sped up in the video so y'all can see it come together. And sometimes it's really cool just to watch everything come together in fast motion. Done with the first part, and so now we're going to come and we're going to do the second part. And so like I showed you earlier, using the color wheel, the color I'm going to add in here to this blue. Let me show you how I did this. So if we look at the color wheel, we have blue over here on this side. And so if we come straight across, we have our oranges, but if we come straight across and over one, it is still split complementary. So it is still going to be pretty contrasting, one color from the other, because it's sort of going like this on our color wheel. And right here you can see it talks about split complementary colors which also create contrast. So one key color plus the colors on either side of its complement. For example, yellow, blue violet, and red violet. So we've got a blue here, and then we've got it with yellow. So it's telling us that those colors are going to be contrasting from one another. And I really want the separate squares in his cute little outfit or his overalls or whatever it is he's wearing to really stand out. And I want the parts to be very separate from one another. Okay, so let's talk about the colors that I chose. And these are some of the colors that I already used. Actually, all of them are colors that I already used, because this is how I'm going to create balance on the page. I'm bringing some of the colors I used here and some of the colors I used here down at the bottom, and I'm bringing those colors from both of those places into his outfit. But I also added this other color to really make the outfit really stand out and pop. So when we look at this page, our eyes are automatically going to draw us directly to his little overalls here, and probably this flower. Okay, so I have saddle brown and mustard and cadmium yellow, and this cadmium yellow is beautiful and really bright and going to make it just really pop, and that is what I'm pretty sure I used down here in the sand or dirt, or like I said, whatever it is. Okay, so the saddle brown is the darkest color. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to start laying these colors in the order from darkest to lightest. And I'm using the saddle brown because it is a dark color, but it's not too dark. And I didn't really want to use a color that was going to be drastically dark in these spaces, because I really want that cadmium yellow to really stand out and pop like a lot. And it's really helping us by using 3 different colors in each one of these boxes to keep the separation here between all of these spaces. And you could see in some of these boxes I'm keeping it towards the top, and then some of them I'm coming back and adding the brown towards the bottom. And I'm trying to do that, like if I put it in the bottom in one area, I'm trying to come to the box next to it and do the opposite. And then like here, I'm laying a lot more of the brown because I'm going to come right in here in this little small area, and I'm only going to use my cadmium yellow because I really want that to pop and stand out. Okay, so I think that I have laid this everywhere that I want it. Where I have these little teeny tiny intricate spaces, I'm going to just stick some cadmium yellow in there. So let me come over and finish up this side. And I don't want too much of this darkest brown over here because I want more of my lighter colors in there. So now I have my mustard And I'm going to add just a little bit of this, and mostly I'm going to add it over, so I'm getting a combination of those two colors, or a blend of those two colors rather. So that's what I'm trying to do throughout the entire thing, is I'm trying to create a blend of these two colors rather than having that saddle brown really stand out in one or any one given area. Because I really don't want it to look brown, I want it to look more yellow. Okay, so now this cadmium yellow is going to be the color that really makes this pop. And wait till y'all see after I add color to this. It is just going to go pow. And I'm going to hope that the first layer was actually permanent. And now that it's dry, it's not going to be movable anymore, because I really don't want this to blend in to the other colors and create a green. I want to avoid that as much as possible. But look at these colors together. Are they not gorgeous? And see, this is why I need my, oh, see, that just turned a little green there. Oh, well, that's okay. So this is why I'm using my, if you watch my last video, I've got 3 different water brushes, and they all have different sizes. So there's a 1, a 2, and a 3. And you can purchase all 3 at the same time. I'll link them down in the description box for those of you that are looking for them, but they have been wonderful. I don't have any leaks with these. I had bought another set quite a while ago, and I had to stop using it because the water brushes were leaking, and I've not had any issues with the Derwent. Sometimes it's worth it not to try to buy something that is an off-brand, and it's worth it just to spend the extra money to get the actual, you know, name brand of something, because you end up saving money in the long run when you don't have to go back and repurchase something that you already purchased the first time. So I'll make sure there's a link down there, but the number 1 brush is going to be the one that has the very small tip on it. And then the 2, I think, is wide and flat. I showed them in my last video, but if you follow the link on Amazon, they will show you what the tip on each one of these brushes looks like. So now we're going to come back, and I've got to go over all of these with water. And oh my gosh, I love these colors. I really love these colors. I just really wanted to do something that was really going to make this really pop and stand out and start to really add some color to this page. And I can't wait to do this little butterfly up here. I don't know what we're going to do next in this video, but when I do the butterfly and the leaves over here and some of this grass and stuff, that's all going to be in one video. I'm going to try to finish the rest of it in one video. And then of course we are going to have to come back and do a background. And I know how so many of you are always looking for background ideas. So that is going to be fun. I don't know what I'm using yet for the background, but we will see. Okay, so I can already see that it looks like I need to be very, very careful not to pull these colors into one another. So I'm just kind of tapping instead and bringing my brush up and down, because I want to be very careful not to bring that blue into these other colors. Of course, I don't want the brown and blue to look like a muddy color. And I don't want to create green when my blue and my yellow mix together. So I'm starting with the lightest color and I'm pulling upward because I want to be very careful not to drag that color. I don't really see like a huge difference in these colors once the water hits them, probably because I didn't use a lot of the brown. Maybe I don't have enough water. Oh, there we go. It's blending a little bit better now. So I just need to go over them just a little bit more. And see, it's all about experimenting with these. Don't think because you don't get it the first time or you don't like how it turned out the first time. Just keep practicing with these, because for a lot of us, they're a new medium and there's really nothing else like these. They are very different. And they do require a little bit of a learning curve, but I don't know, I would like to think they're pretty easy. This is actually only my second time using these, and I got it pretty fast. So just apply what you know from using colored pencils to using these. And then of course when you come back from the water with the water, and you bring in your water brush and start bringing the colors together. Just make sure you start at the lightest color and pull into the darkest color. And when you're doing something as tedious as this right here, like I said, just make sure you don't bring the colors into one another. Now right here, I only laid the color down and it made it turn green. I'm really not so much worried about it, but I'm not going to go over it with water just because I don't want to turn it even more green. And see, now I just picked up some blue because I went into the wrong place. So again, I'm just going to very lightly tap here because I definitely want that area to be yellow and not blue. And let me go over this area here and see it's pulling some of that blue around there because the area is so small that it's kind of hard to get in there. And I think over here it's creating a little bit too much green, and so I want to avoid that. Okay, so his cute little overalls are all done and I absolutely love them. Y'all know that blue is my absolute favorite color, at least those of you that have been following me for quite some time and always watch my videos. You know that I am a little overly obsessed with blues and teals. And no matter what I'm coloring, I always like to bring some kind of blue in, whether it be light blue, dark blue. Y'all know from the Prismacolor set, my favorite color in the entire set is Skylight Blue and my Indigo Blue. But I've always got to bring my blues or my teals in somewhere. And in this case, we combined the dark blue with some teals and then mixed in some yellow. And I think we got a really good overall balance here with all of the colors. And I love the way that he's turning out. He is so adorable and so cute, and I'm just really enjoying coloring this page. So if you are interested in following along with this color along and you want to do this with us, down in the description box below, you can look down there and I will have a link to Rachel Mintz's digital store. And I also have a coupon code and it will give you 33% off so that you could print this out on your favorite paper. I love the Spring Hill paper. It's my absolute favorite and it's taking these Derwent Inktense so beautifully. But you can get the entire coloring book with all of the images for, I think, like $3.33. So it is a really great deal because you're getting a ton of grayscale images. And they're all these adorable little animals like bunnies and some other animals. And it's just the cutest coloring book. It's very quickly becoming my favorite. I'm really enjoying coloring this. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And if y'all are following along with me, please do share what you've colored so far in my Facebook group because I would love to see it. And I will see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.